Jumbo, we are going to start our look at ionic compounds with ionic bonding. Bonding just means how do atoms stick together. So we're going to have these diagrams. We start with neutral atoms. And you're going to look at these diagrams and you're going to say, boy, one diagram looks good and one looks bad. So this is how we're building on last week's information. If we look at magnesium, we know it's at spot 12. And that means it should have 2 electrons first shell, 8 in the second, and it should have 2 in the third. And there they are. Oxygen's fine because we know it has 8 electrons, 2 in the first shell, and 6 in the outer shell. Both of these are unhappy. And why are they unhappy? Well, our problem is we don't have a full outer shell here. We have too many electrons there. We'd like to get rid of those. And you can see we have a couple of spots where if we added 2 electrons to the oxygen, it could give it a full outer shell. But let's talk about these as neutral atoms to start. So 12 protons, 12 electrons, those things are equal. And on the oxygen, 8 protons, 8 electrons, that means they're atoms. But they're both unhappy atoms. They want to change. So the atoms are going to approach each other. And as they get near, we've got to remember what's going on here. We have a positively charged nucleus and another positively charged nucleus. And this atom is actually going to be smaller than this atom. And as they get closer, these electrons will find their way over to this side. And this nucleus will actually rip these electrons off, and it will steal them from the magnesium. So all this diagram is doing is showing they're coming towards each other. Same deal about their protons, electrons. Next slide. So now we want to see the actual electron transfer. And here come 2 wonderful arrows. So this nucleus is going to rip off 2 electrons from the magnesium. And it's going to end up making them both happy. They're both going to end up being ions. So this diagram now shows where the electrons have ended up. I've left the dotted line showing the original shell where those 2 outer electrons were. And now they've gone over here. And now when we look at magnesium, we still have 12 protons there, but now we're down to 10 electrons. Over here we still have 8 protons, but now we're up to 10 electrons. So the net effect is we've created Mg2+, because it has 2 more protons and electrons, and we've created O2- because it has 2 more electrons and protons. And we know that charged objects, if they have opposite charges, attract. And it's this opposite charge that allows these to stick together. So this is a general bonding diagrams showing the process for how you make ions, and once they have the opposite charge, that they can stick together.